This is the end.
Yay!
My only friend, the end. Okay, this is a short one. We've only got a few pages left.
Okay.
And we'll give a little book review.
All
It's
right.
always, it's always a little bittersweet when you end a chapter book. Okay, goes
Okay. The Twits are turned upside down,
What's this?
gasped Mr. Twit as they entered the living room.
What happened?
Screamed Mrs. Twit. They stood in the middle of the room looking up. All the furniture, the big table, the chairs, the sofa, the lamps, the little side tables, the cabinet with the bottles of beer in it, the ornaments, the electric heater, the carpet, everything was stuck upside down to the ceiling. The pictures were upside down on the walls, and the floor they were standing on was absolutely bare. What's more, it had been painted white to look like the ceiling. Look! Screamed Mrs. Twit. That's the floor! The floor's up there! This is the ceiling! We are standing on the ceiling!
We're upside down!
Gasped Mr. Twit.
We must be upside down! We are standing on the ceiling looking down at the floor!
Oh, help! Screamed Mrs. Twit. Help, help, help! I'm beginning to feel giddy!
So am I! So am I!
Cried Mr. Twit.
I don't like this one bit!
We're upside down and all the blood's going to my head! Screamed Mrs. Twit. If we don't do something quickly, I shall die! I know I will!
I've got it!
Cried Mr. Twit.
I know what we'll do. We'll stand on our heads. Then, anyway, we'll be the right way up.
So they stood on their heads, and, of course, the moment the tops of their heads touched the floor, the sticky glue that the ravens had brushed on a few moments before did its job. They were stuck. They were pinned down, cemented, glued, fixed to the floorboards. Through a crack in the door, the monkeys watched. They had jumped right out of their cage the moment the Twits had gone inside, and the roly-poly bird watched, and all the other birds flew in and out to catch a glimpse of this extraordinary sight.
The monkeys escape. That evening, Muggle-Wump and his family went up to the big wood on top of the hill. And in the tallest tree of all, they built a marvelous tree house. All the birds, especially the big ones, the crows and the rooks and the magpies, made their nests around the tree house so that nobody could see it from the ground. Oh, you can't stay up here forever, you know, the roly-poly bird asked.
Why not?
Asked Muggle-Wump.
It's a lovely place.
Oh, just you wait till the winter comes, the roly-poly bird said. Monkeys don't like cold weather, do they?
They most certainly don't,
Cried Muggle-Wump.
Are the winters so very cold over here?
Ooh, it's all snow and ice, said the roly-poly bird. Sometimes it's so cold a bird will wake up in the morning with its feet frozen to the bough that he's been roosting on.
Then what shall we do?
Cried Muggle-Wump.
My family will all be deep freezed.
Oh, no, they won't, said the roly-poly bird, because when the first leaves start falling from the trees in the autumn, you can all fly home to Africa with me.
Don't be ridiculous,
Muggle-Wump said.
Monkeys can't fly.
You can sit on my back, said the roly-poly bird. I shall take you one at a time. You will travel by the roly-poly superjet, and it won't cost you a penny.
Oh. the Twits get the shrinks. And down here in the horrid house, Mr. and Mrs. Twit are still stuck upside down to the floor of the living room.
It's all your fault!
Yelled Mr. Twit, thrashing his legs in the air.
You're the one, you not-so-pretty old cow who went hopping about shouting, "We're upside down! We're upside down!"
And you're the one who said to stand on our heads so we'd be the right way up, you whiskery old warthog! Screamed Mrs. Twit. Now we'll never get free! We're stuck here forever!
You may be stuck here forever,
said Mr. Twit.
but not me. I'm going to get away.
Mr. Twit wriggled and squirmed, and he squiggled and wormed, and he twisted and turned, and he troubled and turned, but the sticky glue held him to the floor just as tightly as it had once held the poor birds in the big dead tree. He was still as upside down as ever, standing on his head. But heads are not made to be stood upon. If you stand on your head for a very long time, a horrid thing happens. And this was where Mr. Twit got his biggest shock of all. With so much weight on it from up above, his head began to get squashed into his body. Quite soon, it had disappeared completely, sunk out of sight in the fatty folds of his flabby neck.
I'm shrinking!
Burbled Mr. Twit. So am I! Cried Mrs. Twit.
Help me! Help me! Call a doctor!
Yelled Mr. Twit.
I'm getting the dreaded shrinks!
And so he was. Mrs. Twit was getting the dreaded shrinks too. And this time it wasn't a fake. It was the real thing. Their heads shrank into their necks. Then their necks began shrinking into their bodies. And their bodies began shrinking into their legs. And their legs began shrinking into their feet. And 1 week later, on a nice sunny afternoon, a man called Fred came round to read the gas meter. When nobody answered the door, Fred peeped into the house, and there he saw, on the floor of the living room, 2 bundles of old clothes, 2 pairs of shoes, and a walking stick. There was nothing more left in this world of Mr. and Mrs. Twit. And everyone, including Fred, shouted, "Hooray!"
The end.
The end.
That was a good one. Comments, questions, observations, connections. I had a connection for sure. Kind of the ending reminded me a little bit about A Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Oh.
Yeah, like that whole, they kind of got stuck where they were, and, they just kind of waited, Bogus Bunsen Bean, and these guys just kind of shriveled up. So there was a little bit of Fantastic Mr. Fox thrown in for good measure, my connection.
My connection is that, from what I've read of all of Roald Dahl, that just a lot of, if you are not a nice person, you will not succeed.
Yeah, it's better to be nice.
Yeah.
Right. I would say he was definitely pro-animal.
Pro-animal,
yes. With some, imperialistic overtones, but, he did fight in World War II, folks, so, the language isn't totally PC. Yeah, what do you say? Thumbs up, double thumbs up? How do you feel about the story?
Well, I liked it.
Yeah,
2 thumbs up.
I liked it. I hear they were trying to make a movie. I don't think it quite got there, or maybe it only showed via BBC. But we do have some little clips that I can offer you folks. But yeah, I like the Twits. Did you have a favorite part?
Oh, I think one of my favorite parts was when Mrs. Twits got the shrinks
Oh.
and just how ridiculous that all seemed.
Yeah.
That all of a sudden she noticed it.
I like the part where these boys got stuck on the tree and had to take their pants off. That was a big highlight for me. That was a big highlight. Yeah, I like that part. I would have to say you would win the Oscar for best monkey.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
thank you.
You made quite an incredible Mugglewump. So
thank you. I thought about it and I wanted to channel the character, and I imagined there was a lot of flailing. So thank you.
Yeah, it was an enjoyable read.
Well, and then when I think of Roly Poly Bird, I actually think of you. I think of you have this certain
flutter.
Hello, everybody. Just a little a flow, like the Roly Poly Bird.
What shall we read next?
Oh, I don't know.
We usually take a break from Roald Dahl. We'll do something else and then come back to Roald Dahl.
Sounds good.
Yeah, so it's going to be called a wait and see. Dun, dun, dun.